Shalom Israel. This is of course Yeshaya coming back at y'all with another Car Chronicle video. This video I want to make is about basically being about this truth and being in this truth, as opposed to looking like you're in this truth. And what do I mean by that? In my time in this faith, I've taken a lot of criticism, very harsh criticism, from outsiders looking in, and even some insiders that obviously aren't inside enough to really say. But, a lot of times brothers have questioned whether I'm really about this faith, about this truth. And, it's something for the Lord to see. It's not for man to see. See, the Lord knows what I'm doing 24/7. He knows what I do. He knows the moves that I make. He knows everything. How is a man that doesn't know what I go through or what I do (24/7) judge whether or not I'm about this truth or not? Because that's really, something that has always bothered me about brothers. Number one, why is it a topic of your discussion? Like, why does it bother you or matter to you so much what I'm doing? Or if I'm sincere or not. I just don't get it. Like we all have to live our lives. And you got men out there that really, they look like they're doing it. They look like they're living it, but they're, I've seen a lot of men fall the fuck out that you thought were so intense about this truth. So, there's living it and really applying it to your life, and there's talking about it. There's so many more brothers out there in the streets, I can promise you, is talking about it that's not living it, than there are brothers that are actually living it. And that's not to say that there are or aren't men out there that are not also living it, that are talking it. It's just not for me to judge. It's not for me to question and say, is this one real about this? Is he sincere? It's not my call. But I've seen a lot of stories, a lot of men, they wrap themselves out when they leave the faith, and they admit that they were doing things while they were in the faith that was unbecoming. And because of them being able to do all those, things that we consider wrong, and still being in the faith and not having a conscience about it, they feel that somehow, some way, they weren't never doing wrong. The wrong they were doing was being in the faith. Literally, this is the logic that a lot of brothers have applied. Brothers committing adultery, brothers, smoking weed, cigarettes, justifying it. But at the end of the day, the judge that judges us and has the ability to pretty much tell you what you're going to be doing for the rest of eternity, he's the one that's whose decision it comes down to. So, with no due respect, I could give a fuck less what a man has to say about the way I live my life, about anything. I would contend I would contend that I'm more involved in the gospel than a lot of these dudes that's out there judging and going around telling people and saying that I'm not, sincere or genuine about this faith. I really couldn't care less what y'all have to say. So the bottom line is I'm very indifferent to y'all because what you opine doesn't do anything to me or for me. It's all about what the Lord opines. What the Lord says is acceptable. So if you see, that I'm at a bar or whatever, or I have a favorite sports team, you can say whatever you want, but, you're not the one that's going to save me or perish me. And I think that honestly, if we're in this faith and we judge each other by the criteria that the Lord, judges us by, or let me not say that, because we can't. The Lord has more information. But what I really mean to say is, if we judge each other based on the criteria that the Lord told us to judge by, then we'll be safe and we won't be judging as much. Because here's the problem. There are, like I said before, there are wicked men that are out there doing the work that you see at camp. And every time the camera's on, they're doing what they got to do and more. Yet, when the camera's off, they could give a fuck less about the Lord. And they think that it's good enough that they're out there at camp, they're making videos, they're doing this, that, and the third. Like, I could vouch for the brothers around me. We live this on and off the camera. We don't tighten up all of a sudden when the camera's rolling. Because I wouldn't permit that shit. Tazuan wouldn't permit that shit. Tazaiwan wouldn't permit that shit. But we don't, what you don't want to do is go too far into other brothers' lives to the point where you're being fucking nosy and wondering what the brother's doing 24/7. Because that's one thing that has been another demon in this truth, is brothers being too damn nosy. Like, I get it, you want to know how, like in my case, you want to know how much of a nigga I'm being without the garment, Feel free to come out drinking with me. You will probably have one of the most spiritual conversations you ever had in your life, because I'm not, when the garment comes off, I don't become a different person. When the garment comes off, I'm still about the Lord. Like, I know people probably look at me, like if I'm at a bar and we get something to eat, like, they see that I'm praying over my food. Things like that a lot of people a lot of people don't do. So, we as Israelites, we have to be very conscious to understand that this is a lifestyle. This is a thing that you live. It's not something you just talk. You go on a camera and you say, you condemn people and curse them out all day. No. That's what people think of us. We are, Lord willing, we are spiritual men and women. You got women out there in the faith. And we're struggling, man. We're just trying to live our life the right way and try to, elevate and educate others around us. We're not trying to put on a show. When we're out there with the garments on teaching, we're not, this is not a show. This is something we do when we live our lives. And you got so many Israelites, like I said, they actually turn into what we call niggas when the garment's off, when the camera's off. And those are the ones that are on camera the mightiest, not a lot of times. Those are the ones that are yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs, yet their heart is full of evil. No type of charity, no type of caring about people. Like, it sounds corny to y'all probably, but you got to care about your people, man. Paul cared about his people. Yahushua cared about his people. Yet you're out there going and hoping our people die, and which it's one thing to prophesy that 2/3 are going to die, and it's a whole nother thing to hope 2/3 will die. Because then when you hope 2/3 die, then you got to think about who's going to die. Because a lot of us in garments could be going along with them 2/3. And the Lord said he doesn't wish nobody perish. But the problem is, if the Lord does not do what he said he's going to do and kill 2/3, then we will forever in eternity be able to say we got away with all that shit and the Lord didn't do nothing about it. So the Lord, I hate to say has to make good on his promise, but if he doesn't make good on his promise to kill 2/3 and to do so in the manner which he discusses in the scriptures, then when will we learn our damn lesson? Where is there a punishment for all the shit that we've done and won't stop doing? Because that's what the thing is. Those of us in the faith, the ones of us that are real, hold up. So look, I have to pay my worker, so I'm just letting one know that I'm going to his house. But those of us that are really in the faith, we've stopped sinning on purpose. We've stopped sinning, without some type of conscience, some type of voice in the back of our head saying, you shouldn't do that. It's you dudes out there and women that are out there secretly doing a whole bunch of shit. Those of you're not going to make it if you don't change. Because the truth is about change. And change is not easy, man. We expect a brother to hear a camp, say all the right things, and think that they're going to change their lives like that. No. Sometimes there are, when you hear any brother's story about how they came into this faith, how did they become what they are now, you hear a lot of stories. I remember I talked to a brother named Mathathua that got locked up, behind a situation. I won't say which Mathathua, but he prayed the Lord deliver him out of it, and he got delivered. I remember a brother who he had to do a prison sentence, and he had been battling with the faith, to try to stay in it. But it's like, the people don't realize when they say the streets is calling, they don't understand what that shit means, man. When you got beef, when you got a old rivalry, and you come into a faith, and all of a sudden they think they can disrespect you, and you gotta either put the smack down or bring it to the guns. Y'all, a lot of y'all don't know, man. A lot of y'all, you on camera, you front like you from the streets, and you don't know nothing about it. That streets is calling demon is a huge fucking demon, man. Trust and believe, man. my current camp, you know, remember we merged, right? You got a lot of men from both sides that streets is calling their name, man. I'm not talking about active members. I'm talking about brothers that can't be members because of it. Brothers that have said, yo, I'm too much in the streets. I can't be part of this. But I'm gonna hold y'all down anytime y'all need me. You know? And honestly, I would say the Lord will probably bless them a lot more than a lot of you dudes out there with garments out there consider calling yourself rebuking people. A lot of these street dudes will be blessed before y'all, man. Y'all talk about, you know, oh, you know, you got demons. Yeah, a lot of them do got demons, but they're trying to, you know. I wouldn't shun a brother who's trying. You just got to be careful playing them street dudes close, because their beef can become your beef. Like we literally have brothers that if they were to hang around the camp, that would endanger the camp, because they've done so much dangerous shit, and they have been involved in so much shit that it's like, yo, your beef in the streets doesn't really die out. It depends on how much shit you did. Because you gotta look at it like this: you could repent, you could serve, you could turn your back from gangbanging and serving the Lord, but that nigga whose brother you shot, whose brother's not here anymore, they're not gonna forget that shit. They're not gonna see you in a garment and automatically say, hey, I see the spirit of God in you. No, they're looking at you like, yo, you killed my brother, and now you got to pay for it. And if they see you with your camp, guess what? The camp pays for it. These are things that you think about and you ponder about when you're really in this faith. Not when you sitting here yelling at people on camera, you know, and not living it. When you really live in it, you consider these things. Because I personally know men that have separated themselves from the camp because of the streets, man, because they're too much in the streets. They have too much rank, and, you know, with that rank came a lot of things they had to do that they are trying to avoid, because being in this truth puts cameras on you. They're not trying to be in front of all them damn cameras. And we're gonna have to learn how to utilize those men. One way or the other. Like they have to put in their work. You know, but those are, you know, a lot of those men are some of the most spiritual men that you will ever come across, man. That street shit is spiritual, man. That street shit is spiritual. And honestly, to a degree, the streets think like the Lord thinks. Because what do the streets preach you? Loyalty. Death before dishonor. You know how many niggas got tattoos that say death before dishonor? Loyalty. You know, if you don't do what you gotta do, you can't walk your hood, because you will be a laughing stock. That's real, man. That's a real thing in this world and in this faith. You know, there are brothers that do things so shameful in this faith that it will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Like there's a dude, y'all know him, I'm not going to mention him by name, that used to be my dude, but when I found out he did this, you know, he was actually like molesting little girls. He's locked up right now. He's locked up right now. I don't know why did I bring that up? Well, just to kind of say, well, because this guy was one of the loudest proudest Israelites that I've ever met. And, he was doing some wild shit. And, the Lord caught up to him, man. Because there's one thing to talk this thing, and there's a whole nother thing to live this thing. I'm about living it, man. I'm about living it. People that know me know, everybody doesn't know what I'm into, but everybody knows that I'm into something. I done had coworkers tell me, to my surprise, you're the most religious person I know. And you're not even into Christianity. Like, literally, you know what I'm saying? Tell me basically, like, yo, like, they notice me praying over my food. They notice me always talking about God. And I'm only using layman's terms because, I'm trying to reach the layman. I'm not trying to, because that's another thing in this truth that I like to talk about. We got to stop using truth vernacular if we're trying to reach people to come into the truth. It makes no sense to talk about Jake and Esau and all that shit and not explain who Jake and Esau is. Like you gotta, are you trying to reach people that already have been reached, or are you trying to reach people that don't have the faith yet? It's very important, man. It's very important that we adjust our speech at camp for people who don't know. They don't know the truth. They don't know who the hell Esau is. You got to tell them who Esau is. You got to show them. But yeah, I'm done. I just want to. Well, no, I do want to kind of bring the point home. But basically, like I said, man, there are a lot of men out there that are fronting for the camera. And there are a lot of men out there that you might think aren't all about this faith, but they are. Because like I said, I could tell you, I've been criticized almost my entire time in this faith. Even the brothers that are now around me, when they first met me, they kind of questioned, like, yo, this nigga be out there chilling with his worldly friends. But then they, a couple brothers have hung out with me in my element, and they see how I get down. They see that I do not become a nigga with the garment off. I don't take off my garment and then all of a sudden I become some wicked gangbanging dude. And I'm just using myself as an example. There's a lot of men out there that are slept on, and brothers think, oh, they're not about this. And so those could be some of the most committed members out there. Some brothers just don't like the camera. I don't like the camera. I'm not a very, I'm not trying to be seen of men. Like, what I'm saying? I do my videos to teach, but really, if it wasn't for the mandatory minimum, you would only hear from me when I read a book that has some real important information, or real great information in it. Because that's what I'm into. I'm into history, knowledge, being able to actually explain and prove who the children of Israel are. But anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.